Right, you've been to Morris Lubricants in Shrewsbury?
Yes, mate.
You've seen how we make the oil?
I have.
Now we're going to see how we use the oil. So today we're talking passenger car. We're talking engine oil technology for newer vehicles in warranty still. Okay, so we've got two examples side by side here. So the advances as to where we are now, I mean, these are both Euro 6 compliant engines. Okay. So these will be ticking certain boxes in terms of emissions control. So we are looking at, not necessarily these particular vehicles, but we are now looking at diesel particulate filters, which obviously the diesels will have. We've now got gasoline particulate filters as well for petrols.
Right.
Okay.
Is that not a cat?
No, it's not.
That's another thing.
It's another thing, and that actually brings with it a whole new set of challenges. There's something called low speed pre-ignition, which you may or may not be aware of.
Right.
Okay, and what's happening with small, heavily loaded petrol engines under hard acceleration normally, you get a pre-ignition issue.
Yes.
Which can be catastrophic damage to the engine. But what they found out is happening, and this is all to do with the way that the fuel systems have changed to cope with emissions. So this is a direct result of gasoline direct injection. And so that's causing a whole new challenge for these small petrol units. So what's happening is, because it's been injected straight into the cylinder, as opposed to into the ports, okay, or into the intake manifold, what it's actually doing, it's jet washering off the oil film that's in there. This is then pooling on top of the piston crown, and because of the heat, obviously, of the combustion chamber when the engine's running, as it comes towards top dead centre, that ignites prematurely before the spark plug does its job.
Right.
So then you've got an uncontrolled combustion event, they call it.
Yeah.
So you've basically got then ignition at the top of the combustion chamber, ignition at the bottom of the combustion chamber, once they're basically hitting each other head on. And that's causing catastrophic damage.
Right.
So these GDI engines have this problem with low speed pre-ignition. So oil formulations now have got to be geared towards helping reduce that, because they found there's certain compounds in the oil formulations which can cause that or catalyse that reaction to take place. It's to do with fuel, engine design and lubricant formulation, but low speed pre-ignition is a big issue. But it's all about making those engines more fuel efficient.
Okay. Okay.
So this is the big thing now. So there's a lot of high tech stuff now under these bonnets, and again, it's all about choosing the correct OEM specified oil, okay, for these different engines. Certain engine formulations, for example, are geared towards improving timing chain wear. Certain manufacturers have had issues with timing chain wear, so that OEM specification will be tweaked accordingly to reduce timing chain wear, for example. But also now, one of the other interesting issues or challenges is the hybrid engine. Okay, because a self-charging hybrid or any hybrid type where you've got intermittent use of the internal combustion engine brings with it all sorts of challenges.
Yeah, condensation.
I mean, one of the biggest problems with it is condensation. So you can get water buildup. You can also get unburnt fuel getting into the sump as well. And this is leading to potentially bearing wear issues. You can also get oil pump wear issues as well, because obviously an oily, fuely kind of film is not a good lubricating film.
No, definitely not.
So, so there's quite a big challenge for hybrids. I mean, for example,
as soon as they start up, they're going flat out as well.
Did
I go in a Toyota Yaris last week? We was out on a job and I went and got a Toyota Yaris. And you went so far and the engine never started. So like in the morning, you've got in it, you're on the battery.
Absolutely.
And as soon as the engine starts up, it was flat out.
Flat,
and it was, I think it was the engine powering a generator.
Yes, exactly.
It was what a great car. But as soon as the engine started up, you had no mercy. It was flat out.
Absolutely.
So the oiler's got a really hard time then when he's having to deal with that.
Where you got a self-charging hybrid which switches to the petrol engine, if you've got up to 70 miles an hour on the battery and then the petrol engine kicks in, it's doing 70 miles an hour.
Straight away from cold.
Nothing.
I know, torture, isn't it? And you can't stop it. That's just how it is.
You can't stop it. That's the way it works. And this is a massive challenge for hybrids, So
what are you having to do with the oils then to be able to get around that?
The hybrid behind us can either run on a W20.
0-20.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, that's light.
Or a
is that all because of the cold start issue? So it's having to just go from cold to flat out straight away. So a 0-20 oil.
So 0-20 or a 5W30. This will take both. So it'll take both. But this is the other thing you're seeing. The progression now from, 5W30s, there's a whole host of them.
Yeah, truck oil's 530 now,
And they're all different because the OEM specifications are different. There'll be a Ford one, there'll be a VW one, a BMW one, etc.
Yeah.
They've all got their own kind of specification requirements. But there is now this move towards lower viscosity grade. So we're seeing 0W8's been factory filled now.
0.8.
0W8.
The reason what? Just to get the friction down.
Yeah, you're reducing that kind of internal energy loss because you've got thick oil. The engine's got to move that around.
Yeah, but it's when the oil's so low in viscosity, how can you get the protection from it?
So this is where polymer technology comes in. So that polymer technology, when you get down to really, really thin levels of oil film, the oil itself is not enough to separate, say, a bearing face and a journal. It's not quite enough. So you're basically building up a stronger oil film using polymer technology, which is actually solubilized in the oil itself.
Right.
So you're relying on that in order to cope.
So that polymer is something that's put in afterwards. That doesn't come from crude.
The building blocks do. Yeah, it's polymerized from monomers, which are taken from crude oil. So it's manufactured.
Okay. So it's just altered.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Okay.
So it's a manufacturing process to produce these polymers, but they're introduced into the oil formulation. So when you get down to these really low oil thickness levels, you've still got protection. But the benefit from that is you've got improved fuel efficiency because there's less energy lost.
Yeah, because the oil viscosity is more like water than it is.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and because it's more fuel efficient, of course, there's less emissions coming out the exhaust pipe. You're reducing CO2.
0.8. Who's having 0.8?
A lot of Japanese manufacturers are factory filling 0.8.
And what's the service intervals on stuff like that?
Well, it'd be the usual kind of service intervals. There's no difference. Of course, it'll all depend on the manufacturer. But then in the service fill world, 0W16 is quite popular now.
Is it?
So if you put one of these thinner viscosity grades into an older design engine, style engine, they'll prematurely wear it out, basically.
Right.
Because those engine architectures
also
aren't
the pumps in the
around.
oil galleries and the filtration system is all
yeah.
designed around a modern oil, a lighter weight oil. Okay.
So you can put these thinner oils in without causing any detrimental side effects to the engine, other than improving its fuel efficiency.
Right.
So
okay.
That's a big step change as well in terms of how these oils are now evolving. So I say hybrids, particularly where you've got that stop-start regime. You want that to circulate as quickly as possible, but still look after all the potential side effects of fuel and water dilution, all the rest of it, and condensation. So these are big challenges. So there are lots of OEM specifications coming through now that look after that. Because these are warranted vehicles, there's a tendency to want to use approved products, OEM approved products. You don't have to use OEM approved products under block exemption ruling, which is still in place, and the UK still follow the block exemption ruling.
Explain that. I don't understand what that is.
So block exemption ruling means that under warranty, you can use a fluid, or obviously in this case a lubricant, which if proven to meet the same requirements as the original manufacturer's requirements, can be used in the warranty period.
Okay.
So as Morris, we can supply all the test data, all the documentation, all the proof supporting its performance levels. So you don't necessarily have to have an OEM approved lubricant as long as that lubricant meets all the requirements of that specification.
Right.
So block exemption is there to protect the consumer essentially.
Right.
Otherwise, OEMs can force you to use a particular brand
and then whatever price they want. Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's always that to bear in mind. Buy a reputable oil brand like Morris Lubricants, and we can support.
I've been using your stuff for
claims.
years, boy. Your stuff's the best.
I know exactly, and proof is in the pudding, of course.
Of course it is.
And of course, the other thing to be aware of in this market is where people are making certain claims on products which appear to be too good, if you like, and they should always be challenged. We're prepared to be challenged, and we can provide documentation and evidence to support anything that we put on our data or our literature. And any other oil company should be able to do that as well. So, people shouldn't go unchallenged. They should be able to prove their worth. But if anybody needs any advice or they're concerned about anything, of course, they can phone the technical services team at Morris Lubricants, and we'll spend some time talking through issues with them and give them advice. Basically,
you're all covered, mate.
Yeah,
fair play to you.
We'll try our little best.
Top man.
Yeah, cheers, Guy.
Cheers, boy.
So if you'd like to see any more content like this or videos with Guy, then visit the Morris Lubricants website or our YouTube channel.